Hello, and welcome back on an update of my personal programming project. I've already said this in the previous video, but I've been trying to create a procedural generated Voxel Dungeon. I did a few information drops of it in my previous video. This has been going moderately well so far. I talked in the previous video about a few updates that I will be making on the side of the generation and also optimizations. I have achieved all of those in a fashion that I am satisfied with. These updates contain new generation of custom rooms, a tool to create those rooms with, rooms, and the dungeon itself. Its creation is completely overhauled to use puzzle pieces, as I call them. Basically, I can now make custom walls and floors and doorways myself, and then the dungeon automatically will use those puzzle pieces that I created to fill in the gaps. Stairways have completely been overhauled. Stairways are now a lot more rare to create a challenge for the player to actually get to a different level and find the end room. Even though there's not a lot of gameplay yet, that's supposed to be the eventual end goal. There's also been an optimization on the generation side, but I will tell you about that while we generate the dungeon. There we go. As you can see, quite fast. The first thing you'll notice is that rooms now actually have doorways. Door frames. So as you can see, every room has actual door frames going into it, beaconing off rooms and making it a lot more consistent and feel a lot more, well, like it's supposed to be a dungeon. It's a lot less open space. So let's just move our little guy through the dungeon a little. And that just so happens to make us immediately stumble upon a new staircase. So staircases have a slight chance, I think 25% chance to spawn in the dungeon. Once they are spawned, they generate doorways procedurally, so these doorways are randomly generated. They can spawn anywhere on these walls into the staircase. This room is completely custom handmade by me with the room creator tool that I created for this. And the dungeon handles all the ways in and out, so it also generates these. Yeah, the other thing I did is basically I made it that I now have 3D meshing implemented into the project. At first that wasn't a thing. I used a bitwise algorithm to do this. Or well, I implemented a bitwise algorithm. Let me just see if I can get that to visualize for us real quick. So, we have a dungeon material. Basically this displays the mesh. So it's not much special, but as you can see, everything has been merged together. It does this on the run, it's lightning fast, it's a bitwise greedy meshing algorithm. I got the inspiration from, I think the guy's name is Tantan on the internet. He did an entire video on its specs and how to implement it, and I basically converted it to C#. But as you can see, all of these rooms are generated on the fly. Hopefully we can maybe find one of the custom rooms. Well, you don't have to find one of the custom rooms. Technically, all of these elements have now been created custom by me. So as you can see, the doorways are actually quite nice too, nicely. All of it is optimized. The next thing I created was in my file system, which is a shitty system. Room saves, no. assets, world entities, voxels, room creator. Oh, damn it, I'm going in the wrong direction. It is in game seeds, yes. Because it's a game seed. When I now start the project, I will end up in the room creator. 1 second. And I quickly switch out this material. Clear. Standard material, just like quickly configure this to work with the way that we want it to work with. Vertex colors, use albedo, yes. And then we can start. Yes, there we go. So this is the room creator. Basically, the room creator can define which rooms it wants to have loaded before it started. So you have the room creator seen on the left over here, and then the room editor. Over here in the load room field, the door is selected. When I clear this, and if you go and look over here, the door is indeed selected. This is the door that spawned every time the dungeon needs a door. But now when I reload it, it will spawn basically an empty room. I can redefine in this tool how large I want this room to be. This can be any size I want. When I click reload, it will create a room of that size. I have a ability to place and destroy blocks, so I'm destroying them now. When I scroll, I get to select new other blocks that I want to place. I have currently got 4 types. It's this gray stone-ish thing. I call it stone. Black is for the floors and the roof, and blue and red is basically just from a color variation for now. And that pink block over there is a very simple indication for me to see where an actual second floor would start in the dungeon, which is some good data to have. I just pressed enter, which Godot has a functionality for. Basically, I just clicked reload with my keyboard. I also have a radius tool, basically making it so that I can place larger sections of blocks. This goes up to 4. See, quite large. Probably would never need this, but it's not nice to have. I can select a category for each room. A category basically makes it, if I place it under a wall, this room would be used as a wall. You can imagine that that won't be necessary for a room of this size, but for a room that with like a size more than 1 by 1. I would, for instance, be able to select a treasure room or an enemy room or a decorative room or instead of fact a staircase. If I would do that, then the staircases algorithm would be able to use this room. I'm not gonna do that though, because I'm not in the mood to find out what that would look like in the current dungeon, and also it would work. I'm just so autistic to not want to do it. This is a rotation option. I added that in because I didn't want the rooms to at all times have the same orientation in the dungeon, because that would also make it quite easy for people to realize where in the dungeon they would be if they knew what the orientation of the rooms would be at all times. So yeah, rotation. Yeah, nice. That was, that's basically all the updates that I had for the project for now. The next project updates are gonna be entity placement in the room editor. I want to be able to place torches so that I can get rid of this directional light for the lighting from the dungeon itself. And from there, maybe some bug fixes. I know that there's still a few going on. But then I will be out of my 0.0.9 version, and I'll actually be able to go into the next feature of my game that I wanted, which is a magic creation system based on glyphs. I've seen these systems in games like Noita and some other cool games, and I was wondering if I could construct it myself and like integrated into the dungeon with like rooms you could find in it. But that's a future update, and once that comes along, I'll make a video and like display my first progress, which would probably be like actual damage and enemies and stuff like that. But yeah, if you watch this entire video, then I appreciate if you give it a like or place a comment, because my channel is not large and I do this for a passion. This is something I do on the side of my job, not because I have actual like an income doing this. I'm just a passionate programmer with a project in his mind, and I'm hoping somebody would like to see how it turns out. Yeah, all of you have a good day, and see you in the next video.